There's $200 million in the vault beneath the strip, with a 32-hour window to get it out. Find the safe. This should be a simple in and out.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Hey everyone, welcome to Garbage In, Garbage Out. I'm your host, Kelton, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Grift. How's it going, buddy?
It's good. My Little League baseball team that I help coach won a tournament this weekend. They just absolutely steamrolled the competition, and it's kind of ironic because the name that the kids chose for the team is the Siberian Tigers, which was well represented in this film.
Hell yeah! Go zombie tigers! That I think is the thing, because even if they lose, you should show them this movie and show. See, we can come back no matter what. It doesn't matter. We got this on lock. So. Glad to hear that your weekend went well. We're also joined this week by Michelle and Tom from Apocalypse in Review. How's it going, y'all?
Heyo.
Hey, everybody. We're doing well.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I know we were talking a little bit off mic just about the goings on and the nature of mortality and other deep and insightful things. So
Sure, yeah.
I'm pretty excited to talk about this movie with you. But before we dive in too much, I guess, what's your history with Zack Snyder? Are you a fan of him and his genre and that sort of stuff?
I was kind of lukewarm on Zack Snyder for a long time. Now, I mean, not that this movie is on the same, I know it's both zombies, but like, I do like his Dawn of the Dead remake.
Sure.
I did like that a lot. I watched the whole Snyder cut because I don't know, I felt I had to for some reason.
It's okay. We all have that same sickness of, being white guys. So it's fine.
Yeah. I just needed to know, like, if it was gonna do anything for me. And I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I think I was like thinking about it and I'm like, every Zack Snyder movie is like pretty much fine.
That's not true. 300 and Watchmen?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, those are all right. They're pretty much fine. But my thing is with Zack Snyder is it feels like somebody asked you to watch them masturbate. Like, all of his movies feel like they're like, I mean, I guess, but I'm not going to have that much of a good time. And
so it's consensual at least. It's not like Louis C.K.
Yeah.
shutting the door and then standing in front of it.
No. He's not, doing the full ficus jerk, but he's doing like, he's definitely asking me to, and I am willing to do it. Obviously, I watched 4 hours of him jerking off at me.
Yeah, I think if you made it through all 4 hours of that, that's just a testament to personal willpower.
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
I at least with this movie, or when I think about the Dawn of the Dead, something that I feel like everyone knows, but it kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, is that movie was written by James Gunn, and so I think that is a big X factor when talking about why that Dawn of the Dead is so good. It's Snyder aesthetics with a James Gunn script to it, so he's kind of being forced to be reined in a bit.
Yeah.
What's funny is, like, I'm not a movie nerd at all. So I'm like very basic. Like, I know
surface level.
Yes. Very vapid. Like, I only know Steven Spielberg, right? Like, I'm that type of person where it's like, I only know like the really big names, and even Zack Snyder, like, I didn't even know his name until like a little over a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
That's
for real.
fine.
Yeah. And then I was looking him up, and then I was like, oh, we did watch Dawn of the Dead, and I really liked it.
Mhm.
And but again, like, judging just between that and then watching what we just watched, which he wrote, right?
Yes.
And it was like a full like husband-wife duo. Like, it was basically just, it seemed as if it was like their love child, and I'm not sure if it was something that
there is a lot.
I guess we can get into it a little more.
Sure,
later.
sure.
We can get into it a little more later, but
like the brain trust of this movie, what you were alluding to is it's all Zack Snyder. Like one of the main criticisms I have with modern movie making is that it feels like it's made in a lab. Like you have some producers from some bad movies gather a director for some underperforming movie to go ahead and make a movie with something that has like 6 different writers because it's been in development hell for the past decade or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, just it's just some like hybrid monster of these neoliberal sickos, each contributing their own piece of like just Bugman viewpoint to it, but which is different from these sort of where you can tell it's just Zack Snyder having more him and his small team having more control. But like I kind of wanted to go back to what you were saying about like, oh, I'm not a movie nerd. I think for analyzing these pop culture products that like I try to bring this to like a little bit more of like a normie perspective can actually be a real asset to like analyzing these pieces of like media that are supposed to have broad appeal, and then they can be appreciated on the level of what they're going for, which is like trying to make something that is a mass appeal pop culture product that appeals to everybody. And when they do get cultural purchase and pop off and really get into the zeitgeist, like understanding why that happens is a core like component of looking at these like just massive pieces of media.
That's, I think, an apt way of putting it. Before I feel like kind of for anyone who hasn't watched the movie, I don't know why people listen to podcasts about movies when they haven't seen them at all, but like some people do. The basic
just can't
premise,
get enough of you.
Hey. You know what? Such big fans. I'll take it. But for people who are wondering what the basic premise of this is, after a zombie outbreak happens in Las Vegas, a group of mercenary thieves headed up by Dave Bautista attempt to break into the Las Vegas quarantine zone and unlock a casino's vault and steal millions of dollars of cash. And then hijinks ensue, people die, shit goes sideways. That's kind of the basic idea of what this movie is. But in terms of what the movie was trying to achieve with it, I think that specifically the studio behind it, Netflix, was taking a big swing into showing like we can make blockbuster movies. Like we can hang with the big boys once again, and this is kind of their seasonal swing. Because did y'all ever watch that Power movie with Jamie Foxx?
No,
I never saw that one actually.
Oh, okay. Well, the basic premise of that is a drug hits the streets, and the drug comes in the form of pills. The pills not only will get you high, they'll unlock certain animal abilities inside you.
Yeah, we did watch it, Tom.
Did we? Yeah, that does sound familiar now. I guess I just wiped it from my memory.
It clearly slid right through your brain.
That's exactly what Netflix wants, though. It's like you watched it, you got the view count, it dinged, and then maybe you'll rewatch it because you forgot that you watched it the first time.
Yeah, you forgot it. Yeah, it's like it's like trying to like scoop water with a rake. Some of these movies, like.
I will say though that like with Netflix, they've all like for the past several years they have been trying to show everyone that they can produce a blockbuster. So there's definitely that, but from people that I know who write screenwriting, who are screenwriters and stuff, it shows them the optimism of the fact that yes. Anything can be made these days because we have Netflix. That is right. where I think because
it's kind of like when Obama was first elected and they were like, oh man, anybody can be president, it's great, blah blah blah, and then Trump was elected and they were like, oh shit, anybody can be president.
but that's what Netflix has been doing. It's the great thing for screenwriters is now they have a fighting chance, right? Like Netflix is known for being more open-minded. They're willing to do anything and everything.
I got to do a little bit of pushback just on that statement, mostly because of a recent Netflix scandal where they asked LGBT and people of color to submit script ideas. But as part of the application process, you forfeited over the rights, essentially, to said project.
What?
So if Netflix decided to move on and advance
Shit,
something,
I didn't
or
hear about that.
kind of like combine various aspects together, than probably have some old white guy showrunner do it. But then you
Well, of
couldn't
course.
sue them.
Yeah,
So
I never said it was fair. I was saying they were listening to reading. They were reading everybody's.
it's what the kids
It's not
want.
like in
Yeah.
Hollywood where everything goes into a dead man's pile, and if you're lucky and if you have enough connections, somebody's willing to read it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, but Netflix is still a corporation, and they suck, just like everyone else.
Stealing intellectual property and creative control from POC creators—that's woke now.
It's how you fight to claw your way up to the mountain so that you someday can exploit other people. That's what you want.
It's all in the Grift.
But it's like so not surprising though, right? Like it's like this is a corporation's way of trying to be woke and trying to be open to POCs. They're like, look, we're cool now. We like LGBTQAZ. Like, come on over, guys. Like that's their version. It's just like, oh god.
Throw that Z in there. Given some of the discourse going on, I wouldn't be surprised if they that Z represented Zionist.
Oh god!
Oh, Jesus.
So I guess I am on brand with that one. I don't know what I'm doing, but apparently I hit the nail. But it's like, not to go too off subject, but like it's the same thing as with Applebee's. You know how everybody's not going back to these shit jobs?
Yeah.
And so Applebee's apparently was like, hey guys, if you sign on with us, you get a free appetizer. like that was the reason why people weren't going back to work. Like, gee golly, I'm gonna get a $7 appetizer? Sure.
This will definitely make up for the $2.13 an hour that they're gonna pay.
Right.
At least offer them like the 2 for $20 special or something. One free app?
Yeah,
come on,
right?
that's pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, Fridays has unlimited apps for like $20. So like
The ball is squarely in the Applebee's court. I love it. I love it. So I guess to kind of circle back into the movie, as much as I enjoy
Yes,
the,
let's
the
go back,
casual
circle.
dining experience of discussing it, the concept behind this movie, which for anyone who might not know, it also should be kind of obvious. This is a movie that Zack Snyder pitched in like 2005, and then studios were like, I'm not so sure there, buddy, because like at the time it had a lot of real edgelord elements to it, like
oh really? Okay.
in it, like the zombies raped people in the original script, and so you had rape babies running all around, and it was like some real wild stuff.
And he wrote it?
Yeah, of course he wrote it.
Oh, that's
Come on,
nice.
And you could see some of those elements that made their way into the finished product here. Not in that absurd form that they originally had in the script, but yeah, there were a lot of rapey elements in this thing for sure.
Oh,
well,
for sure.
Like when your kid commits suicide, I think it kind of makes you want to tone down some of like the edgelordness of your work just a little bit. So
yeah,
that's my going theory, is that not in addition to being older, he has some more life experience, and so as much as he is kind of a dude bro, he's gaining empathy just because he's living more life, and so I think he's thinking like, oh well, that's probably not like the best thing to include in my movie, so it's fine. But talking about the movie itself, like I really enjoyed how it delivered on the actual premise that it sold us, because I mean the idea of a contained zombie outbreak where like 99% of the other major cities have it all handled, but like Las Vegas wasn't able to for whatever reason, like, you know, that's great, and I enjoyed that. I didn't think that it probably needed to be 148 minutes.
You and me both.
Yeah, it turned into a bit of a slog. Like you could have easily cut at least 45 minutes from this thing, and it would have been a more streamlined package.
Well, and I think
For
that
sure,
especially in horror, it's almost the same in comedy too, in that if you have a longer horror movie, that means that the audience is in the world that much longer, and the audience is asking questions that much longer.
Yeah.
And that's when stuff kind of starts to like break down and fall apart. You know, like why, for example, when the chopper was having difficulties and it didn't look like the chopper would be available, like, are you telling me that the city of Las Vegas, the metro area, doesn't have one available fallout shelter for people to try and get to? Like,
Yeah.
What's exactly happening there? And then also that I'm not sure dressing like you're some Black Ops mercenary operators waging war in Iraq is probably the best outfit for when you're actually dealing with zombies. Like,
yeah, I've always said the outfit you should put on is probably like those motorcycle jackets with like the skid things in them.
It's
or
Kevlar.
whatever.
Yeah, the Kevlar lined shirts and pants, and you have basic riot cop gear padding outside of that, and then you're good to go.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I like the idea, like, of it being in Vegas of all cities you could pick, because who doesn't like seeing zombies in funny costumes? And we get a lot of that. At least you get the bride zombie, you get like the cocktail waitress zombie, you know,
Elvis zombie, Liberace
Elvis zombie. Yeah, all the fun ones.
It kind of is one of those things where, in my mind, as I was watching that, I was like, I get why they placed it in Vegas because it's fun like that, right? But also, Vegas would be the last place they would ever be able to contain a zombie apocalypse, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just be realistic.
This is also like Hollywood Vegas, because it's all the metro area and then desert immediately.
Yeah.
Like, there's no suburbs in this world.
No.
It was kind of silly to see.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. Yeah, nobody lives there.
It's also specifically like the Sunset Strip, basically, I think.
Yes.
You know, and that's it. It's not really like all of Vegas, because much like the original not the original, but Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake that sets mostly in an abandoned mall, this is set mostly in an abandoned hotel. And so they kind of have it in different scenes to dress it up and make it seem like different buildings and stuff, and some exterior shots. But really, we're kind of operating in like one building for 80% of the movie, which when you're dealing with 140 minutes, that's over 2 hours set in one building, basically.
Yeah,
so.
Zack Snyder has this thing where you can tell that for each movie, he wanted to make one really good music video, and then he extended it over an entire runtime. Like, if you look at the Watchmen movie, the best part of that was the opening credit sequence with the needle drop and the American history, like the alternate American history timeline with the Watchmen. And that definitely happened here with the Viva Las Vegas needle drop montage at the beginning, which honestly was the most entertaining and fun part of the movie. They sort of blew their load early with all the different zombies in the traditional, Vegas costumes and stuff. And I'm
so glad you said that, Grift, because if there's one thing we hate, it's also movies getting MCU-ified. But this movie is getting a prequel called Army of Thieves that has already finished filming, and it's set all during that fucking opening credits scene, basically. And then we're also getting an anime sequel series called Army of the Dead Lost Vegas. You see,
all through Netflix.
Yeah. And so,
of course,
Snyder is going for a zombie action MCU of sorts.
Huh.
Oy.
That seems exhausting, to be honest with you.
I can't think of any other, big name, quote unquote auteur like him who's done a better job at like grifting the streaming industrial complex to get his passion projects funded. This thing, the Snyder cut. This honestly, the arc of history at this point is bending towards a Hulu original Zack Snyder Fountainhead movie. Yes, I did just speak that to existence. I did not turn my lathe of heaven off, so I'm sorry for that.
See, knowing Hulu, they will tell Zack Snyder that it was going to, in fact, be a movie, but they'll let him film like a 6-hour movie, and then they'll release the movie in 7 different parts. So it's a mini series by default, is how it comes about. Yeah, I don't think anyone can do a better opening credit scene though than Zack Snyder. Like it really kind of gets you in the mood, and you're able to get a feel for the characters when they're showing them, and like they're holding a portrait of their family as well, or of their loved ones and stuff like that. It really really works. And unfortunately, Grift, you're exactly right in the sense that it's all downhill basically from there. So we'll see. Did y'all like the idea of it basically being an insurance fraud as the main prompt for this movie?
I had that again, like you said, when you sit with this movie for any extra length of time, you develop all these questions or whatever. But it's like, okay, so it's as if my thought was, you know how like the story goes that Dr. Seuss wrote Green Eggs and Ham on a bet?
Yeah.
Like this feels like somebody was like, I bet you can't combine Dawn of the Dead, Born Identity, and Ocean's 11. Like that's kind of like that's
spot on.
That's what it felt like to me. And even that, like the Ocean's 11 aspect of it with him like, okay, you're going to go in, break into this vault and yada, yada. And all that. Then it turns out, no, that's not at all what the dude wanted, though. He wanted the zombie head, correct?
Correct. And there is a very easy way for him to get a goddamn zombie head. And that's by paying off the coyote like $15,000 and then just getting a zombie head and getting out.
Because they had the zombie head within like 20 minutes of being in Vegas.
I know.
Correct.
They could have just walked away at that point.
Yeah,
it's almost like maybe the main bad guy's henchman, or not bad guy's henchman, fucking what's his name from Fear of the Walking Dead? Martin is the character's name. But yeah, the Japanese businessman's head of security that goes with him. It's almost like after he gets the head, he could have just fucked right off. And
that's exactly what I was asking. Like, why?
I mean, they weren't even far from the exit point of where they were.
They were basically where they started.
Yep. Yeah. And he should have just gotten the head and then said deuces and bounced from the movie. And then, forgive me for speaking it like this, but then there would be an outside element of now there's no reason to wait for the bomb to go off. So then the businessman could lobby to have the explosion occur early, etc. Like the whole movie could still operate with the timeline of acceleration that it does, but without having a needless extra person.
Like you said, the more time we have to sit with these things, the more plot holes you can poke at. But I have grown to appreciate when movies just have the simple motivator of money, and the characters are motivated by money, because it feels very realist. Like if you were offered like a couple mil to put your life at risk, honestly, most working people would probably take that chance.
Of course,
yeah. And I did appreciate that element. I enjoyed how they kept offering when they were building the team, they kept offering them less and less money. They're like, oh, 2 million, sure. 500K, sure. 20 grand, why not?
It really was, and then especially what was it, that zombie killer influencer guy who brings along one of his friends as like a subcontractor who's like getting paid $5,000.
She was so badass.
Yeah, she was too.
It's the same actress who was the female Kryptonian in Man of Steel, in case people are wondering.
Okay.
It's like a Snyder wheelhouse alum is kind of my point there. So it's nice to see that she's still getting work. Sorry, keep going.
Oh no, I was just going to say that whole like getting the crew together scene, it was funny how earnest it was, but how silly it was at the same time.
That was like legit Ocean's 11.
Yeah, it was.
He never plays things with a sense of humor, and it's weird because the only thing that makes me know that he knows that it's funny, even though it's not shot funnily or it's not like giving a wink to the audience in any way, is because in interviews, he talks about how it is a ridiculous premise and how he just enjoyed having fun with everyone playing it straight.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the slight disconnect is, because I don't want like the Marvelized version of this, which is where you have one character talking about how ridiculous it is the whole time and making
Yeah.
quips like that.
Yeah.
I don't think would be good. But
The one time when they kind of leaned into that territory was at the beginning with the guys driving the truck and joking about what was inside the vault. Those guys have all seen the Indiana Jones movies. They're all, like they're operating with the same cultural references that we have. And it was I was thinking of, if I was driving the truck, what would I be thinking that was inside? Like, is it an adrenochrome store? Is it is it like a altar to Baphomet that was in the Little St. James Temple?
You're mentioning all real things. This is a fantasy movie. Grift. Come on, you can't be.
It is. That does ring true to me because, I'm in construction and I've been on jobs that don't have names because you're building it for the government, quote unquote, and so. Sometimes you'll just have a room that has wild shit in it.
It's
but
like
you
the
don't
vault,
know what it is.
It's
the vault. Yeah, you're sitting there going, "What?" I mean, this is where they do alien autopsies, right? Like, this is where that happens, right?
I mean, and I think Grift, and this might again work with me here because I might be doing some of the director's work for me. I think the reason that the army guys were talking about Indiana Jones at the beginning was then at the end when they're going in and the zombie is getting blow darts to the face and shot up. It kind of is able to bring
it rhymes there. Yeah, exactly.
It's a George Lucasism.
Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that. But yeah.
But see, I don't know if you guys caught this, but like the beginning of the movie, I had to ask Tom who was directing this and who wrote it because like the script, like for me, like the fact. Okay, so him being like, "Oh, I did that on purpose because I think it's funny." I feel like that's a cheap way of trying to just be like, "Yeah, everything was shit because I thought it was funny."
That is his style, unfortunately, though.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the army guys like talking. I was like, who are these people and where are these B-rated, C-rated people coming from? Like, I was so confused. And then, like,
they also are just bad at being army guys.
Very much.
They just, like, don't follow instructions, like, immediately. They're like...
I think Zach was like, y'all aren't that important, so y'all do what you think you need to do and just shoot the scene going from here to here.
Why is my character title Cannon Fodder number 2? I don't understand. What's my motivation here?
Yeah. So how do you think Bullet Catcher would react in this?
Well, yeah, because as much fun as it is, the zombie apocalypse is brought on by Roadhead. It is.
That was great. I love that. The car just crashes into the truck. It immediately explodes.
Immediately,
the whole thing
so
just
quickly.
fucking explodes. It's like, damn, are we in a Michael Bay movie here?
I thought the same thing.
Oh my gosh. I was literally trying to, it almost feels like a dick measuring contest between the two of them. And we're just here having to be forced to watch it.
Michael Bay is like the frat boy version of Zack Snyder. And Zack Snyder is like the rejected libertarian-esque wannabe philosopher version of Michael Bay. Like they're two sides of the same like dude bro coin. It just is important if they got like a BA or a BS. That's really kind of the difference point.
Oh my gosh, that's spot on. I could not. You literally put into words what I was thinking but could not say. I could not figure out how to put the words together, and you did it.
Because like
so,
Snyder
kudos.
loves to put these like big ideas in there, but he doesn't really have like any, I think, true analysis point. He's like, I'm just asking questions, kind of like what news anchors will do, but in his case, he literally is just asking questions. Like he's just presenting stuff. Because like the once the zombie outbreak happens, and then there's like the walls of Vegas metro area is walled off, but then just outside in a ring surrounding it are the quarantine camps. And I was like, oh, wow, some timely commentary here. We have like people getting temperature checks everywhere they go. And like it's very authoritarian. I'm like, doing some weird fear mongering and commentary, Zack Snyder. I appreciate it. But they're also in a giant open air prison where they're dependent on like a weird militaristic force not to crush them, like the Palestinian people. Weird commentary, Zack Snyder. Okay, what side are we playing here? What way are we going?
Yeah, it just felt like a grab bag of the issues of the day without having really much to say at the end. Like, you got a little bit of anti-lockdown, anti-quarantine, anti-government control stuff, but you also got the clear analogy to, ICE agents sexually abusing the refugees in the camps. And then, of course, you had build the wall around Vegas made of shipping containers, which one of them had Evergreen written on it. I'm sure that was CGI'd in, after that ship got stuck there. So that I caught that reference.
It's just a great, it's an earnest movie. And so to see these things that he put them in there because it makes him laugh, and he's hoping that enough other people will. And now he has like this cult of personality built up around him that I think he'll be set as a director kind of moving forward. So it'll be great. One note I wanted to mention just but before I forgot, as we kind of then talk about various highlights in the movie, is obviously one of the characters, Tig Notaro's character, was originally going to be played by Chris D'Elia. And then after,
I did read
after,
that.
He got canceled for not
being a super creep.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the best way to have it not be libel or slander.
Being a pedophile.
Pedophilia.
I don't think you need to say at this point. I don't think you need to say parody non-actionable to say that Chris D'Elia is a pedophile. I do not think we're going to get sued. I do not. Yeah, the legal system is not going to come down on us for
and if it does,
that.
Great, I would love that. Prove you're not. How about that, Chris? Because one of the stories that I was seeing in various articles about this movie is like, look at how amazing it is that Tig Notaro is put in seamlessly, and it's not at all noticeable, and blah blah blah. And I thought it was incredibly noticeable because all of her scenes are by herself, or like she is walking in with the group, and there's like this weird blur effect almost around her.
I did not even notice it.
I didn't notice it at first. Afterwards, like, I'm sure I would notice it on a second viewing.
I did wonder why she was by herself
the whole
time, because I did not look up this movie. I saw, I only knew about the movie because it's on, the Netflix front pages and shit. But it totally makes sense now that she was stranded on the rooftop by herself.
Yeah, I mean, it just was one of those things of where I think in the original version, it probably was that Chris D'Elia was with the group, and then when they all went up, he was able to start the helicopter, and it didn't start at first, and then he was able to get it going. In this case, though, they just scrubbed him completely out. They kept her up top on the roof, and then doing like a bizarre side quest the entire time. So
I kind of liked her side quest the whole time. Like, she's just like up there being like, what is this hunk of shit that you've given me to work with?
Not one zombie interaction, though. Like, no one cared to check the roof. The zombies, bad perimeter security.
Yeah. I was just yelling, "Get to the chopper!" the whole time. That's literally what it boils down to.
The main, like, I want to say, like, my it's both my favorite character and my most disappointing character in the movie that we've talked about a little bit was the zombie tiger. Because, man, when that was in the trailer, I thought, all right, this is going to be a hell of a movie. Let's do this. And then, like, the zombie tiger was only in for 2 scenes. And it's like, should not have gotten my hopes up.
I know. I thought it was going to be one of those, like, Game of Thrones where, like, the direwolf is always by his
exactly
side.
What
like,
I thought.
I thought they only did that for the one, and then he gets a really cool, like, beat-up scene, and then he's gone. I'm like, why?
Yeah, he gets to kill the main asshole. Like, I guess cool, but like,
he does kill the fuck out of him.
It was such a build-up.
He does.
Yeah, like as soon as the operator guy was like, "Oh, that tiger, it's perverse," like, it's going to be ripping his face off in the third act.
Tears erupting all the way around. The thing that was disappointing to me, at least with the tiger, not just with the airtime, and I guess it's kind of more about the trailer as a whole and how it was advertised, is that this movie seemed like it was going to be incredibly colorful and incredibly vibrant and have this like hyper real saturation throughout. And the movie, outside of about 3 scenes, is a lot of gray and beige and sand just all the way through.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
one
you're right.
somewhat cool scene in the casino itself where you're shown as Dave Bautista shoots into a gas tank of that one chick, or I'm sorry, the influencer guy shoots into the gas tank, and you watch that explosion. But even then, I was thinking the action might be similar to the action in Watchmen, or even like in Dredd. Have you all seen the Dredd movie from like 2012? Yeah. But something like that in that color spectrum. And it really wasn't. And so I feel like I kind of got Suicide Squatted a little bit of like, oh, well, this.
Yeah, you feel like it should be more like neon and Vegas-y and stuff like that.
No, it was only for the intro. It's almost like they just cut clips of the intro.
Yeah.
And then they were like, look, guys, look at this flashy thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
It just was weird for me to go, okay, so this I think is a me problem, and I need to like not judge movies based on the trailer, even though the trailer should be the thing that gets me hyped up for it. That instead, I got to guard my heart a little bit better.
Yeah, I think by this point we should know that trailers are going to blow the entire load of the movie, give away all the good stuff, and represent a vibe that is not indicative of the whole. Because, yeah, like you were saying, we only really got those really oversaturated, super stylized action scenes in the intro, and then when Dave Bautista went absolute beast mode at the end. Inside the slot machine room.
Oh my God, he was such a badass. I was like, dude, he's like at least double my age, and he just jumped up that poker table thingy like it was nothing. I was like, does he have wires on? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
The answer, I think, is yes. I'm sorry, but the dude, I think, is he's what, like 50 something now, at the very least. So
okay, so he's not that old.
He's trying to like get out of his like Drax role because he's like, I'm too old for this shit, kind of a thing. His
head has the most bizarre wrinkles pattern that I've ever seen.
Said that
Thank
too.
you. I was like, oh my God, as you get old, because I've seen it on other people too, as they get older, and I'm like, what happens? Does your brain start to come out? Like, does your skull recede? It's so intense.
I mean, I just assume it was like from prolonged HGH use, like the 90s HGH.
That could be a thing too,
That's the only logic.
Yeah, it's like when Barry Bonds had to get a new hat size that was like like five sizes bigger than the one he wore in the 90s when he started juicing. It just it makes your head swell, and then I think that may stretch the skin a bit.
Yeah, that's true.
More face to emote with. Because they actually tried to, they gave his character a sort of, they gave him the emotional heft of trying to reconnect with his daughter.
Yeah.
Which you could tell, like, Zack Snyder, he was obviously, working through some personal stuff there.
And that's where I won't criticize Zack Snyder too much. But anyone, because another thing I saw was this movie has such a heart to it, such emotional resonance. It's just like, no, in my head, their relationships are by far and away the worst part of this movie. Like, I do not care about the family. I don't care about who wants to date who. And like, I was just waiting for you to become available, Dave Bautista. Let me get my neck snapped in an elevator real quick. Like, I just don't care. And so like, when we get to the end scene, as we bounce around, but where the daughter has to like old yeller her dad. It just did not resonate with it. I was laughing.
No.
Like when he died quietly and then started spazzing turning. It just, oh my God.
Yeah, I felt nothing.
I screamed for about the last 10 minutes of the movie because that part, I knew it was coming up.
Yeah.
It was so obvious and it was not needed. Like, I feel like that is what ruined the movie for me. And I understand that knowing a little bit more about him, like, I'm thinking he was trying to do something, right?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
something about it. But the thing that pisses me off is that American movies have this tendency of making children be annoying, immature assholes that ruin everything.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just weird that like his daughter is also like older than I am. So it's just, like,
The daughter is the the most annoying because it's like, all right, so you promised the woman that you were going to take care of the kids, then immediately abandon the kids, and then go into the danger zone.
But that's the writing, right? That's the problem with the writing, is that they were like forcing it to happen because they felt the need to put some sort of emotional aspect to
let's
the
never
movie.
lose sight of the fact that she failed and that woman is dead.
or again, I want to call myself a scriptwriter here, but wouldn't it make more sense if there was an idea of not going in for insurance money? Their initial idea was an extraction to get one of the alpha zombies, but then Dave Bautista finds out that his daughter has gone in to go get money for the refugee family, so he goes and pulls a wild card.
Oh my god,
that would have been so much better.
That would
do.
That's
thank you.
That's so superior.
Way better.
Zack Snyder, I'm
way
available.
better right away.
You can pay me $50,000. I will give Griff $15,000 as a subcontract.
Yeah, you're not going to tell me how much they give you. I just hear my cut, and
Can we get appetizers since we were here for it?
Yeah, can we get Applebee's appetizers?
It just, it seemed like that there's a way, or rather, there is a tight 100-minute movie in here that is begging to exist and be out there, and I think that would make it incredibly good, at least in my head.
That would have literally shifted the entire way. Because the thing is, this movie isn't that bad, right? Like, I actually enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah, it was fun.
Just for the aspect of just it being an action movie. It was really fun. But all that other stupid stuff that they added in,
it
just made it way too long.
It's almost like a slow
and
burn.
it just had no point.
Like outside of the intro scene,
what?
the first zombie kill happens at 65 minutes in to the movie.
Jesus.
Like that is such a long wait to get to that point. And then, as I mentioned before, it's around the 100-minute mark that I start to question this movie. So there's really only about like 30 minutes of me enjoying it without having larger questions coming in.
Yeah, that's true.
It was this bizarre combination of that sort of like meandering tone, like you were saying, like it took a while to get to what you were promised, but also the script felt like it was on rails. Like you had to go through these beats. It was completely telegraphed. You knew exactly where it was going to go.
The Universal Ride version of this is going to be amazing.
No, but you're right. Sure. It's like you knew every next step. You knew exactly like who was going to betray them, who was going to die, and all that other stuff. Like so far in advance that it's like it felt like a slog after that 100-minute or so
and you're
mark.
holding off just to see the action.
Yeah. And the action was kind of like, I mean, like just for fun's sake, it was fun. Like the Batista jumping on the tables and not since JFK has there been more magic bullets.
Oh my god!
Than,
like when the influencer guy was doing the streams and he would do the triple headshot.
Or like the daughter, how she can't seem to kill a guy 3 feet, less than 3 feet in front of her, but all of a sudden at the end of the hallway, she's long shooting with a pistol.
Yes.
And she's getting every head. And I was like, and they're running, by the way. And I'm like, how does that work? How does the math and science work on that?
One scene that I legitimately thought we were going to get, and I probably should have known better because Zack Snyder is many things, but he is not a copycat. So, God bless him for being original. But I was hoping and begging and pleading that I would get a copycat scene take place at the bottom of the casino when there is that long steel cement corridor that has the elevator that opens up and you just see a wave of zombies come in. I thought that they were going to shoot through there first, run out of ammo, and then we were going to get an old boy hallway scene with Dave Bautista and a hammer just fucking going ham all the way through. I was like,
that would be pretty fun.
Well, of course, this is going to be kind of what happens as he's holding off the incoming waves to try and buy the guy more time. But no, that didn't happen. It's fine.
We did get the let's do this like gentlemen scene and the fisticuffs with the lead zombie. So there was that.
Yeah, and and of course you had the wimpy safecracker guy suddenly become a perfect marksman by the end.
Magic
just
bullets.
Murking headshots.
This is a tie-over, by the way, from our last episode, which we covered King Arthur, and the entire time of that movie, they kept calling King Arthur Kid, even though Charlie Hunnam was 37 at the time of that movie coming out. The German safecracker is also called Kid several times. He is 40 years old. That is a 40-year-old man who they're like, I'm not so sure about this kid, this whippersnapper.
Yeah.
I will say I really like the bromance that he and the marksman had.
Oh yeah, the guy with the
I really
giant chop
enjoyed
saw.
it.
Yeah. Which that chop saw didn't really come into play very much, other than for somebody else.
I mean, thank God they had it though, because that's why they ended up being able to, blast through a wall.
That's true.
They would have all died if they didn't have that one heavy chainsaw that they've been lugging around this entire freaking movie.
You know what
that
else?
They also hid in a wheelbarrow. I mean, like in a barrel.
Yeah, that was a weird move too. I didn't know why you
Did
had
you
it buried
notice,
in
like
the
when they were
desert.
getting their stuff, they had barrels, and I'm like, why would you put a chainsaw in a barrel? Like, why?
that is, I think, a good
you had it
question
buried
to
in the
ask.
desert. That was
I
weird.
mean, also it's a chainsaw, so if you're trying to be quiet, not one silencer is shown on this fucking movie. Like no one's ever shown.
One element I did like was the sort of dual wielding guns and then stabbing them in the head.
Yeah,
like that was that was a cool move that felt like like an actual bit of fight choreography that was
the fight
entertaining.
scenes themselves I have no issue with. Those are all very, very technically competent. It's the color grading and the slow-mo shots therein with that I have. But I mean,
and all the drama, all the BS drama.
It's the soap opera element. But again, this is Zack Snyder. This is the guy who did y'all catch all like the Greek god? Just like at the Olympus Hotel, and the main zombie bad guy is called Zeus. Just fucking, oh my god! It was. I honestly thought that the bad guy zombie was going to be called like Prometheus because he's bringing fire to the other zombies.
Oh god!
So.
I had a couple of questions about the zombies though. Like, so. One was they had like the alpha zombies and then the regular zombies.
Yeah.
How did the regular zombies get made?
It's aliens rules.
It's
it's aliens rules. Do you remember like there's like the main queen xenomorph and then she can make other like main xenomorphs and those make the little like dog size xenomorphs.
Okay.
So it's only whoever he bit became those fast ones.
Got it.
And anyone else that turned into a zombie was from the other zombies.
Okay. Fair enough. I just wanted that cleared up.
But also, I wish like they could have gotten more deeper. Like, I feel like he was focusing on all the wrong things. So all the stuff that should have like opened up more, like it never got there. Like I loved the idea that there was this alpha zombie that was creating these like special zombie army people.
Great concept, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they never really delved into it. Like it almost made me get upset because I was like, you spent all this time on all this stuff that I didn't need in my life. Like, I want to know more about this, crazy zombie dude. And he got a zombie woman pregnant. What?
Yeah, zombie pregnancy.
What now?
It was consensual.
And that's all we see. It was totally consensual. He like digs the baby out of the womb, and then that's it. And we just know that he's pissed about it, but we don't know how that happens. What this is.
I want to know like how the fetus lore works then. Like, if a pregnant woman gets turned into a zombie, does that mean that then if the baby is alive in a separate entity inside, according to the logic of Zack Snyder at least, that then that baby isn't a zombie?
Oh, I would think the baby is a zombie because from Dawn of the Dead, if you remember.
Oh, that's right.
The woman was bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess his worldview hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Well then, congrats.
Yeah, the sort of gratuitous grossness of the zombie fetus. I don't think this was the intent, but I can't help but notice the similarities to anti-abortion propaganda.
Yeah,
And it was, but obviously it wasn't touched on beyond like we live in a zombie society. That was basically that aspect wasn't really expanded on, but the aesthetics there were sort of questionable a bit.
It was also fascinating to see because these zombies didn't need to feed, or the alpha zombies at least didn't need to feed. They just kind of bit people, and then like it was the lower class zombies that were the ones that were constantly consuming and eating.
Yeah.
So it just was one of those things of where I'm sure the prequel movie is probably going to explain all of this and it's going to feel really fucking boring or whatever. So when that hits, we will definitely have to hit y'all up and pester you.
Yeah.
Say like, we promise it'll be different this time. This one's good. We hope. But
yeah, that's funny they're doing a prequel because the ending sequence with the marksman on the plane, right? He was it sort of hinted that he was going to go infect Mexico City, and then knowing Mexico City's geography, where it's a basin surrounded by mountains, it's a perfect zombie sort of containment zone.
Yeah, that's true.
But also he was bit by the alpha, right?
Presumably, yeah, because he was doing the
Because
physical.
we're supposed to think that.
Because he was fighting him, and I remember seeing him kind of look like he was about to get bit, and then he was shoved into that little place. So you would assume he was bit by the alpha. So yeah, I definitely feel like there is a good story there. I do love a prequel, and I'm hoping it doesn't have any sort of emotional crap in it. I don't know. It's just...
It definitely will. The prequel movie, at least.
Yeah.
We're going to follow like one family that gets stuck in Vegas after they've walled everything off and they got to try and coyote their way out. So
Right.
it's going to be interesting. That marksman at the end, I think his name is Vandero or something. Did y'all appreciate how he's bookending the movie with a fucking Joseph Campbell quote?
Oh my god! I rolled my eyes back into my fucking skull when I heard that.
That sounded. It was so out of place and like shoehorned. Like it was just like
that was definitely Zack Snyder. Like he was reading something that day of filming, and he's like, "Yeah, let's just add this here."
Oh,
yeah,
you know, he high-fived himself in the mirror when he wrote that down and was just like, "This is perfect."
But also, like, why has nobody mentioned the script in terms of the wording for the German dude? Like, why has nobody mentioned this?
I forgot. Yeah, I completely.
Do you not remember how
he's the
pretentious?
funny foreign guy.
Yeah.
No, but it was almost like. It was almost like he started writing the script for the German dude, and then a couple people were like, "Dude, this sounds so like you sound like a noob. Like, get that." And he was like, "Oh wait, I'm gonna turn it into something funny." Like, it was only funny towards the end. I don't know if you noticed it, but like, the wording, you were just like, "Who wrote this?" And then you're like, Zack Snyder. I'm like, damn it. And then like at the second half of his whole character stuff was when it started to get a little bit more funnier, and then you realized it was a joke. In the beginning, it was not jokey at all. It was not funny.
But it was annoying. That's the thing with Zack Snyder is that like he doesn't play anything like a joke, so you're kind of questioning if it's supposed to be funny. Like you're kind of like like even the beginning montage and stuff like that, like right up top, like you see like the army is just getting, fucked up, and there's like a guy shooting as he's parachuting in, and it like it should be funny, but you're kind of like questioning it, like, is this a
Is
comedy?
he saying that military all sucks? Because the whole point of that beginning intro was that the military was all dying around them, and the only people who were saving, the other people, were this ragtag random team.
This film is dedicated to the proud Mujahideen zombies that fought.
And it's like, and our military sucks, apparently.
I did get a kick out of that paratrooper just slowly drifting down and getting enveloped by the mob. I do think he was trying to play that for laughs.
I think so.
But I totally get what you're saying.
But the way he cut the scene, though, is because, like, if you notice, like, right before that, there's, like, a whole other, like, some military person dying, right? And so because of the way it's cut, it almost looks like he's making fun of the military for sucking. And then all of a sudden it's all of this like renegade whatever team that comes in and is saving the day, and you're like, is he talking shit
are
about
we pro militia? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, like
I think we're pro Blackwater, pro private contract.
Oh, yeah.
There.
really though.
The best of the best,
That's
the elite
not
of the elite.
Yikes.
You know, the ones who operate as burger flippers until they are able to work for
One
Japanese
last
businessmen.
Yeah. You'd rather be a soldier of fortune than be in the working class rat race, right? like war crime. Doing war crimes is preferable to flipping burgers.
It's going to be terrifying, by the way, like when Dave Bautista, because he gets a lot of credit for being like an actual character actor now, because like he can be an action star, he can be in serious roles, comedic roles, whatever. But like, I think probably about 10 years from now, it's going to be too much work for him to want to keep on having such a massive amount of mass and muscle. So he's probably going to really trim down, slim down, and get relatively skinny and fit. And like, we're not going to know what to do with him as an actor.
I don't know.
Like,
you never know, because Dwayne Johnson, like, he did slim down quite a bit. Like, he is not the mountain that we first had, right? Like, he still works out. No, he did definitely trim down.
I thought he went bigger.
No.
Yeah, I
For
I don't
some
know,
movies,
like,
probably, but
what Johnson you're looking at, but that dude only gets bigger.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you're
I feel
thinking.
like
I think
terrifying.
you
He was
saw a
definitely-
picture.
Oh no, maybe I'm thinking about Cena.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Cena
John Cena did.
No, he
slim
did
down.
slim
Oh,
down.
John Cena, yeah.
Sorry,
John
I got
Cena
the
has
I
slimmed
got the
down.
two
Yeah.
confused, but yeah, Cena has
It's okay.
slimmed
One
down.
is the knockoff of the other based on the Mountain Dew
No.
commercial, so it's okay. Cena would sell his soul to have the career that The Rock has.
Which
Like,
is such a
he-
bummer, because I do like Cena a lot.
It's okay. He's going to be in Fast and Furious 9. So he's Dom Toretto's brother. So it's going to be A-okay, him and Vin Diesel. But I think, if we're starting to talk about other movies, this is as good a time as any to talk about our rating system of how many trash cans, of how garbage this movie is. So, Grift, take it away. What are we at?
I'd probably say like 1.5 to 2 trash cans. Parts of it were a lot of fun. It definitely dragged. But at the end of the day, it was a good time wasting blockbuster, all things considered.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in that same camp too. Just would have loved it. Would have given it like 0 trash cans if it was 90 minutes of action instead of 148. It also taught me that the zombie apocalypse was like the perfect time to kill your spouse. Like you could just get away with it. Like knife to the head. She was turning into a zombie. That's my excuse. That's what I'm sticking with. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Prove me wrong.
What about y'all?
I guess I'm kind of with y'all. Like it's like a 1.5 to 2, I suppose, because
yeah, that's fine.
There's a lot that I could have done without, but overall, I was entertained for 60-70% of it.
Yeah. And thankfully we have our smartphones for the other 40%. So it's manageable.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 2 trash cans, but honestly, it could be a 3 in my mind just because he had almost 15 years on this script, okay? So to
It
go
is
15
true.
years and still come out with this when, again, like I loved the action. Like this movie should have been just an action movie. I mean, I'm sure there could have been some heartfelt stuff, but not what happened at, the girl coming in and all that. It was so predictable. And I'm like, no. And then like, it just kind of perpetuates this thing of how Americans just apparently think that children ruin everything, right? Like that's, I mean, every action / horror movie, they do this. Like Quiet Place, they did that. I can talk about any other ones. And then like, I always talk about the like comparison between like, let's say like Train to Busan, right? And so like the children were the actual ones who were like, knew how to like get shit done. They were almost like better than the adults in terms of like how to keep their shit together in a sense. And it is true. Like in my life, my children, if I'm going through something, they are there. Like they are wiser.
Yeah,
I think children are. Like we give them so little credit. And I feel like it's this like, I'm so sick of that mentality. And then like, I don't know. Like, there was so much in there that didn't need to be. That's the thing. And I'm like, if it was somebody else, like a newbie, I'd be like, okay, I'd give them some credit. Like, it could have been better, but we can move on. But it's like Zack fucking Snyder.
The man does not know how to be succinct at all.
It all would have worked out if not for those damn meddling kids.
Right. I mean, but also the way you described it earlier, like, that was on point. Like, if he had just switched it around just a little bit, it would have totally made the movie, and the emotional factor at the end would have totally been it, right? But like, I don't know, maybe it's just like an ADHD thing, like you can't, but also like all the stuff that happened, like you could clearly tell they did it just to get the movie to that next point where they wanted to get it to. It wasn't really well thought out, right? It wasn't smooth, where you didn't have to do the crazy what is it called when we do that, when we're like backpedaling and
backtracking to kind of make sense of it all?
Yeah, like, you know, when you're like swirling away, trying, like conspiracy theories, right? Like you try to get to one point to the other point, and you're making up all these excuses to get there. That was what this movie was. And I was like, man, it was so good though. That's the thing that sucks. It's like all the other parts that was supposed to be in the movie were great. And then all these little things were just like a bummer. Like, you know,
that's
like,
Zack Snyder in a nutshell, though. You know,
is it?
It's like, it's.
I really enjoyed 300 though, and that's the only movie of his that I actually liked. When I talked about Watchmen, I lied. I was talking about the HBO one, not the movie one. Yeah. So I take it back. 300 is the only one that I liked, but also it's, I don't know, I haven't watched it in forever.
Yeah, I mean, Zack Snyder, when he's held to other people's IP, because like I did enjoy his Watchmen movie, also like the 300. I'm a fan of Guardians of Ga'Hoole, his owl animated movie.
I forgot about that.
And,
underrated gem.
Which, by the way, he talks about in an interview, Guardians of Ga'Hoole, he was going to have like a prolonged sequence that really hammer home like the civil rights message in Guardians of Ga'Hoole. And I was like, man, release the Ga'Hoole cut, please. I want that.
But that's another thing. I'm so sorry I keep ranting, but like, good. He keeps starting these notions of trying to make his movie a little deeper, but he doesn't know how to get there, right? So he only puts a little tiny bit, because he's like, this is what I want to talk about, but I don't know how to get there, so I'm just going to make you guys figure it out. Like, and so there's all these tiny things that never really come to fruition fully, so none of it develops, so you're like constantly wanting more, but not in a good way. You're just like, it wasn't thought out.
I mean, he needs a legitimate writing partner. Like his wife Deborah is excellent at being an editor with him, and he's fantastic at doing cinematography, and then of course being in the director's chair I think serves him well. And so, you know, on that side of the technical aspects, I think they do a good job, but the actual writing of someone who can be like a James Gunn almost with the Dawn of the Dead, but can incorporate certain other elements to help synthesize what Snyder is going for. That's really what he needs.
I forgot. Dawn of the Dead was absolutely, I loved it. Like I actually really enjoyed that movie. So I know he can do it.
Yeah, he just needs, I mean, he just needs a writing partner. That's kind of like, you know, when you're looking at like his next project, it's okay, well, who is actually writing this movie with him? Like, who is distilling his ideas down? And then we can judge it off of that, because it's like, oh, it's the guy who did like Seventh Son and the Robin Hood remake. Nah, this is gonna be trash. No, thank you.
Well, like, given what we know his dream project is, I think his ideal writing partner is Ayn Rand.
I mean, his next upcoming work is apparently a King Arthur adaptation set in the Gold Rush era. So,
you know, what is with all this fascination with King Arthur and
free.
Ted Bundy?
It's free.
Why?
You don't have to.
It's
to
free.
Pay anyone.
That's the reason. Like that's why there's 8 trillion Robin Hood movies and whatever else. But
Also, apparently, Excalibur was his favorite movie growing up. And there's a little reference to that in Batman vs. Superman, the movie on the marquee outside of where Bruce and Martha Wayne was shot was Excalibur. It's literally him just referencing and working through what he liked and what his influences are, which, as artists, that's kind of the name of the game at the end of the day.
I like it. Well, yeah, I think that's going to go ahead and do it then for an episode. So thank you so much, Michelle and Tom.
Oh, thanks for having us.
What have y'all got going on in your world? What have you got to plug?
Well, we have a podcast called Apocalypse in Review. It's a comedic podcast that rates and reviews apocalypse-themed movies, right?
Yep.
And so you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at APOCPod, APOCPOD. And if you can find us on all the podcast platforms, and if you check us out there, you can see all of our links. They're all in our, show notes as well. So
yeah, and y'all came on to do the wonderful-ish Southland Tales not too long ago. So
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was such a blast. It has spawned a campaign on my part to try and get the director's approval to let me do like a coast-to-coast overnight AM radio style show, but set in the world of Southland Tales. That's, I think,
that sounds
needs to
genius.
exist.
Yeah, that's our long-term project that we're trying to manifest.
That's what this podcasting Grift is all amounting to. We're building up cloud, showing that we can, fix and tweak movies from time to time, and then being like, hey, so what's going on, Richard Kelly? Well, what's the deal? Let's join your team. One last script.
Trust the plan.
No, I think Kelton definitely has some sort of gift with that, because he's like, I'm not a show, I'm not a script writer. And it's just like, boom. I was like, what the fuck just happened? How does anybody just fix it? I couldn't even think of it that way. So, yeah, I'm just saying.
Decade
you got
of
a
drug
gift.
abuse will help you be able to just
Damn
get to
it.
the
See,
core of
I
it.
never did it.
All
They
right.
always said it was
I
bad.
guess I did the wrong drugs.
Yeah, Kelton has opened his third eye.
Well, Grift, what about you? What's happened in the Grift shop lately?
We're still raising money for Palestine with the new pop-up shop collection. When another collection comes into the shop, that's going to still be a permanent fixture there. So that's a sort of permanent fundraising effort. I just heard from Netscape as well that we should be ready to drop our merch collab next week or so. So definitely be on the lookout for that too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that should be pretty fucking dope. Everyone go ahead and check that out. Also, if you want, follow the podcast, if you don't already, at Gigo Podcast on Twitter and Letterboxd, and then leave a review on iTunes or on Spotify. iTunes, I'm sorry, I should clarify, Apple Podcasts recently did the most atrocious update in the world. So if anyone listening here, you're listening to us now on Spotify because you couldn't find us on Apple Podcast, that's fine too.
Oh no.
We'll have a big group like therapy hug it out session at some point about what's going on with our analytics there. And then that's going to go ahead and do it. Next week we're going to be covering Cruella, so let's hope to get our fabulous and wonderful Dalmatian coats ready, and let's get stoked for that.
We're gonna really get our girl boss on for that one.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Deuces.